What's up, and welcome to the No Bullshit Manifestation Show. I'm your host, Kat Kozad, manifestation expert, money mindset and fulfillment coach, and multiple six-figure entrepreneur. Come sit with me while I spill the real tea on what it's like to practice using intentional manifestation, demystify all of the woo-woo and confusing bullshit that comes along with creating the life of your dreams, and give you a realistic view of what it's like to be on a personal, spiritual, and professional growth journey. The goal of this podcast is to support and guide you towards manifesting all of your dreams, shed light on the things that people are too scared to talk about, and encourage you to become the person who gets to have it all, be it all, and do it all. I am so happy you are here. Let's fucking do this thing. What's up, loves? Welcome back to another episode of the No Bullshit Manifestation Show. I have been promising y'all this podcast episode, and I am so fucking excited to talk about it today. So on today's episode, we're going to be talking about how money manifestation oftentimes has nothing to do with money. And if you listen to the podcast, you've probably heard me say this a fuck ton of times because it is one of my favorite freaking topics about manifestation, and one that is literally not talked about enough in the world of manifestation. I genuinely don't really see many other people talking about this. So I'm super excited to shed light on this and really give you a realistic view about how money manifestation oftentimes has literally nothing to do with money. And this is probably my favorite topic when it comes to manifestation, but I also say that about a lot of topics. But I really fucking love this one. So I'm really excited for this episode. So let's get into it. Money manifestation oftentimes having nothing to do with money. So what does it have to do with then? Well, money manifestation oftentimes has to do with our relationship to ourselves, our relationships to others, our fear of judgment, fear of failure, fear of discomfort, fear of pain, our perception of the world, what we were taught not only about money, but about ourselves and about the world growing up, and so much more. And to break this down, I want to give you examples from a lot of these different areas so that you can look inward and see if this is something that relates to you in your life, because this is hands down something that has absolutely changed my life when it comes to money manifestation. If you listen to the podcast, you already know this story, but when I first was on my intentional manifestation journey, about a year into my intentional manifestation journey, I had just manifested my first $100,000 in business, and I did it within 10 months of starting my business. And at that point, I recognized that I still felt so completely unfulfilled. I didn't feel safe. I didn't feel secure. And this was the number that I thought was like magically going to cure everything for me. I magically thought that like this amount of money was going to make me feel all of these things that I was wanting to feel. And that's when I truly realized for myself that like money manifestation oftentimes has absolutely nothing to do with money. And in addition to that, the reason that that became so clear to me is that like making that first $100,000 felt like a fucking hustle. It felt like a struggle. It felt like this uphill battle in order to make it happen. Whereas now that I've really done this additional inner work and healing and stepping into this position of power, not only in my finances, but in these other areas of my life with my relationship to myself, my relationship to others, fear, judgment, failure, discomfort, pain, perception of the world, etc., I have now been able to manifest so much more money without that hustle and without that struggle and without it being so goddamn hard, because my relationship to these other aspects of my life is what was creating the disconnect, which was making money manifestation so hard for me. Whereas now that I have this awareness of the fact that like money manifestation oftentimes, almost always, has nothing to do with the actual physical manifestation of money and everything to do with something that's going on internally for me and was based off of some sort of limiting belief or energetic blockage or trauma or something that I experienced, then it has been able to completely shift the way that I attract and manifest money into my life with so much fucking ease. So, first example that we have is our relationships to ourselves. Why would money and money manifestation have anything to do with our relationship to ourselves? Well, first and foremost, if we do not feel worthy of something, if we have low self-esteem, low self-worth, if we feel unfulfilled inside of ourselves, if we do not feel like we are good enough in some way, shape, or form, then that is going to have a huge impact on our relationship to money. So a specific example with this is if you are a people pleaser, if you feel incredibly uncomfortable with upsetting somebody or doing something that somebody wouldn't like, and you find yourself in people-pleasing tendencies, this is going to have a huge impact on your relationship to money. So an example of somebody who is a people pleaser, what they would typically find inside of their finances is that they are constantly buying people gifts. For example, like going to a coffee shop and always paying for your friend's coffee, going out to eat and constantly paying for the other person's food, hosting parties or giving gifts or whatever when you may or may not be in the financial circumstance to be able to do that, but doing it anyways because there's something in your mind and in your conditioning that has taught you that in order to be accepted by other people, then you have to spend money on them. You have to use your money to support them in that kind of way. Or another example of this is like you may want to be seen and feel cool and want to fit in with these people. And this ties into like low self-worth / esteem. And like you're going to buy clothes that you maybe can't necessarily afford, but like you have to fit in with the crew of people that you're trying to hang out with. Or you're going to buy things for your house or your car or whatever to try and gain validation and love and acceptance from the people in your life. So that is going to hugely impact the way that you attract and manifest money into your life and your relationship with money as a whole. If you have these tendencies inside of yourself, if you have that low self-esteem, that low self-worth. And in addition to this, this is just like literally one example. There's so many fucking examples that go into our relationship with ourselves and how it impacts our finances. And another really powerful one to recognize, and this is something that I used to embody, and I see so many women embodying. And if this is something that you do, any of these things, any and all of these things, I want you to know that like this is not me putting you on blast. This is me helping you create this awareness of the fact that like this is not supportive to you. This is something that is hindering your experience. It's hindering your financial well-being, and you have the power to change it. So this next example is feeling unfulfilled inside of yourself and numbing it out with like buying things, like going and buying clothes, going and buying food, going and buying something, and not meeting your emotional needs because it's easier for you to go and buy something. It's easier for you to go drive to your favorite takeout place and buy that instead, or drive to the boutique and buy yourself that, or go online shopping. And the reason that people do this, especially us as women do this, is because Our brains create an association with what is going to give us dopamine. And when your emotional needs aren't being met, your brain is going to look for the quickest, easiest way for you to get that dopamine hit to try and help you avoid the discomfort that you're experiencing. So going to online shopping and buying whatever, or any of these examples that I've been saying, that gives you a dopamine hit and it helps numb out that discomfort and whatever emotion that isn't being met for just enough time for you to feel better, but then ultimately end back up in the same cycle over and over and over again. So this is huge when it comes to money manifestation and you healing your relationship with money and with yourself so that you can actually have your emotional needs met and not have that piece of like you not being fulfilled impact your finances instead. And then in addition to this, another example is your relationship to other people, which we hit on a little bit inside of this first example. But one of the biggest things that I see with the women that I work with and with all of the people that I've helped over the past 2 years is that when somebody fears the judgment of somebody else or really cares about the opinions of other people, it will impact their finances in the way of them trying to do something that will impress other people. So, prime example of this is like buying a car that you can't afford, or a purse that you can't afford, or something that is like far out of your current financial circumstances that are putting you even further into a state of lack than just accepting that like that is something that in this very moment doesn't feel aligned and isn't supportive to your finances. And just a little riff on this. This is one of the biggest misconceptions that I see in the world of money manifestation is that in order for you to embody the energy of abundance and luxury and more than enough, then you should go and buy something that makes you feel like that next level version of yourself. And if that works for you and isn't going to put you into a state of lack or panic or survival mode, then good for you. But majority of people, it's like if you do that to try and create some sort of appearance or have some sort of status, then that is actually going to put your brain and put your body into survival mode and put you into a state of panic, essentially, like completely throw off your nervous system. Because if you are not doing the inner work to heal your relationship with money and you just go and do this to try and gain validation and acceptance from people, because you haven't really healed your relationship with yourself and the way that you interact with other people and what you expect of your relationships and how you want to be treated in your relationships, then that truly isn't going to support you. You going and buying this thing isn't going to support you until you've done healing work to really step into the energy of like, okay, I can choose to have these things for myself and I know how to attract and manifest the money to support it. So that is one huge example. And like I said, misconception when it comes to manifestation, it's like you do not have to spend a single cent if you do not want to when you are stepping into this energy of abundance and luxury and all of the different things. And if anybody tells you that like you need to go buy a Gucci bag or buy a Mercedes or something like that, like, nah, run as fast as you can in the other direction. That is not inherently true when it comes to money manifestation. And then another example is if you have the fear of discomfort or the fear of failure, there may be something that you really want to do. There may be something that you are super passionate about, a idea or a creative endeavor that you've been wanting to pursue and really bring into the light and like be able to make money from doing. But because you have a challenging relationship with experiencing discomfort or fear, you end up cock blocking yourself from doing it. And this is, once again, one of the biggest things that I see with the people that I work with is that there is, for all of us, our brains are literally conditioned to do this, but there's this huge fear of discomfort. So majority of people stay in their comfort zones, and nothing will change inside of your comfort zone. Even if your comfort zone sucks, it is easier for your ego and for this part of your subconscious mind that is trying to protect you than it is for you to step out of your comfort zone and create the change and put yourself out there and put yourself up to the test to potentially fail, but knowing that it's okay and that you're safe to do it, and that if parts of the journey go quote unquote wrong, even though you can never go wrong, it's just like all steps in the right direction, and it's helping you get to the place that is going to ultimately help you evolve and be super successful in whatever it is that you want to do for yourself, as opposed to like just sticking out, hiding out in your comfort zone and not changing or doing anything because you do not want to face the discomfort that comes up with it. And just like I was saying a second ago, it's like our brains are hardwired to avoid discomfort. But if you want a different financial reality, you have to learn to embrace discomfort and get really good at getting uncomfortable. Because if you are not uncomfortable, you are not growing. And if you are not growing, you are not changing. And if you are not changing, nothing in your life is changing. And personally, this has been such a huge part of my journey. I was the girl who is constantly, subconsciously, of course, I wasn't aware of it until really going in on this healing journey and manifestation journey, but like constantly sabotaging my finances and constantly sabotaging myself, because anytime I would try to create change, anytime I'd try to do something different and make money moves and do something that was going to be really supportive for me, I would feel so uncomfortable. And because I felt so uncomfortable and I hadn't yet trained myself to be good at being uncomfortable, I would sabotage myself and I would end back in my comfort zone in an even worse situation that I was than when I tried to create the change in the first place. And then just created even more limiting beliefs and all of these false bullshitty things about that circumstance because of what I was going through and like what I was experiencing at the time. So this is huge. Healing your relationship with discomfort and with failure and with judgment and fear and all of these different things is going to completely shift the way that you attract and manifest money into your life. And obviously, your actual relationship to money is also going to play hugely into this. So working on your actual relationship to money, the way that you feel about money, what you believe about money, the way you interact with money, what you were taught about money, all of those different things are going to play into the way that you hold energy around money and the vibration that you're emitting out into the universe, and therefore what you're attracting back by the law of attraction. But just like I've been saying, like that is just a piece of the pie. And the majority of the pie actually lies in your relationship to yourself, your relationship to others, relationship to the world, to fear, judgment, failure, discomfort, pain, etc. And this podcast episode is just the tip of the iceberg. And if you listen to the podcast episode that I just released before this one, you already know. But if this is the first one that you're listening to, starting April 1st, I am looking for 10 and only 10 women to work exclusively with and intimately with on manifesting more money inside of the Abundant AF Babe Academy. And this is an offer that is only going to be available until April 7th of 2022, or until those spots fill up. So if you have been in this position of wanting to completely change your financial reality and really step into the position where you are easily, effortlessly, and naturally attracting and manifesting more money into your life and just feeling like the most abundant version of yourself, the most fulfilled, happy, healthy, and wealthy version of yourself, then this is the perfect opportunity for you, because these 10 spots are going to be absolutely life-changing. So if you're feeling called, you already know who you are. If you listen to this podcast and you have been wanting to go all in on your manifestation journey and actually learn how to use intentional manifestation to completely change your life, then you will want to apply to be one of these 10 women and become a part of the Abundant AF Babe Academy. And the link to that is going to be down below in the show notes. If you have questions about any of it, you can also message me on Instagram. But yeah, this is it, ladies. This is such an incredible opportunity to truly transform your financial reality, and not just your financial reality, but all and any aspects of your life that you do not feel 100% fulfilled with right now, because this is our one and only life. This is our one and only shot that we get inside of this human body. And when our souls sign up to live the human experience, we sign up to live the full human experience. And it's impossible for us to live the full human experience if we don't have the money to support it and the relationship with ourselves to be able to be courageous enough, be bold enough to go after the things that we truly want, as opposed to just settle and say that, I guess this is good enough, or feel as though like life isn't exactly what you want it to, and that you're kind of getting punched in the face by the universe sometimes, but ultimately just like staying in a position that doesn't feel 100% fulfilling with you out of fear or out of complacency. And I'm saying that because I know what it's like to live that reality. I was that woman for my entire life up until choosing to go all in on learning how to use intentional manifestation to completely change my life. And if you listen to the podcast, you know that I have been able to completely transform my life in less than 2 years. It's actually 2 years to the date right now that I was pushed out of my old life and my old circumstances due to the pandemic. And like my safety blanket was taken away. I was working in a restaurant at the time, and like that was my safety blanket. I had just started my business. I didn't have enough clients for it to make sense. I didn't have any of the things that I have right now. And I, in that moment, chose that this was my time to completely transform, to quantum leap into a completely different reality. And by the end of the month, after I took that safety blanket away, I hit my first 10K in business. And since that day, I have not seen less than that. And I have gone greater and greater and greater in the amount of money that I call in and manifest on a monthly basis, because I continue to dive so deep into the inner work and dive so deep into my relationship to myself, to the world, to all of these different things that I've been talking about inside of this podcast episode, and really set this foundation for myself to have this rock solid worth and knowing and trust inside of myself, so that I've been able to use intentional manifestation to go to greater and greater and greater and greater levels so that I can now be in this position where like I'm truly living a life that I genuinely had no clue was possible for me ever, let alone at age 26. Like, I created a life that I didn't know I could have at age 80, 90, 100, in years and years and years of like building a life like this in less than 2 years, with complete time freedom, complete location freedom, complete financial freedom, money sitting in the bank, like incredible, abundant, free, fulfilling life. And that can be your reality as well. And that's exactly what I want to teach you inside of the Abundant AF Babe Academy. So just like I said, I have these 10 spots available starting April 1st. And once those 10 spots are full, this offer is going to be over. So April 1st through April 7th, or until these spots fill up. And to be completely honest, these spots go super quickly for the Academy. So if you're interested, hop on it right now. And this is going to be so freaking life-changing. So I'm excited to work with whoever is coming through. I'm so grateful to be able to guide you and support you on your journey. But with all of that being said, I'll stop talking your ear off. Thank you so much for listening to this episode of the podcast. If you found any of it helpful, please screenshot it and share it on your Instagram stories and spread this good word of money manifestation, because just like I always say, the more good, kind-hearted women in the world that have money in their pockets, the greater that this planet is going to be. So I'm sending you all my love, and I'll chat with you on the next episode. Oh my gosh, thank you for listening to today's episode. I am so grateful to have these no bullshit talks with you. If you enjoyed today's episode or the podcast as a whole, please spread the love by leaving me a review on iTunes or sharing the podcast with others. This is how I will be able to spread more of these good vibes and be able to make more of an impact on the lives of others. And if you're not already part of all of the goodness and communities that I have to offer, check out the show notes. I have links to the different ways that I can support you on your manifestation journey and help you live a life full of more money, fulfillment, and freedom. But that is all for now. So big love and hugs, and I will chat with you soon, babe.